Hello class, welcome to the second part of Module 2, Writing Skills. Report writing. A report writing is a document providing an account of events witnessed, work carried out, or investigation conducted, together with conclusion and often recommendation arrived at as a result of the investigation. That is, any report that is provided after an investigation, it is a report writing. In other words, a report is a detailed account of events that someone has thoroughly observed, heard, or done, or investigated and presented as an official document. That is, in a situation whereby someone come up with a thorough observation about something he had or about anything he did and presented that particular information as an official document. It is called a report writing. A report is usually written to guide organizations in policy formulation and decision making. It is usually written on basis of some stated objectives and for a particular category of audience. A person who is tasked with writing a report is usually given instructions and guidelines on how to go about writing the report. This may include a clearly structured format consisting of sections, headings, and subheadings, so that the location of information can be easily followed. Qualities of good report. A good report must be clear, accurate, and unambiguous. A good report must be well structured and highly organized. It should have sections and subsections. A good report must be informative. A good report must have clearly defined objectives and scope. A good report must consider the needs of potential readers. These 5 items are some of the qualities of good report. So for your report to be a good one, it has to contain these qualities. Language of report writing. The following usage should be avoided in report writing and other formal discourse. Number 1, contraction. These include the using of isn't for is not, can't for cannot, don't for don't, and so on. All these are not allowed in language of reporting. Number 2, cliches. These are overused phrases which lose their meaning and effect. For example, in a nutshell, it is against this background that. All these should not be used in report writing. Number 3, idioms. For example, the use of put all your eggs in one basket, a pain in the butt, bury the hatchet. All are not allowed in report writing. So one should make sure that he doesn't use any of these 3 items in his report. In previous slide, 3 items were itemized. So this is the continuation of language of reporting. Number 4, archaism. These are words or phrases considered old, prescient, or obsolete. For example, thee, thy, though, and so on. They are also not allowed in report writing. Number 5, slang. Slang is an expression which is considered very informal and therefore not used in formal writing. For example, appreciable, prenemy, real, this, choice, and so on. They are not allowed in report writing because report writing is a formal writing. Number 6. Uncommon abbreviations and acronyms. There are abbreviations and acronyms which are regarded as standard because they are commonly used in varieties of discourse. These include government, GOVT for government, school for school, UNICEF, BUK, and so on. All these are the standard abbreviation and acronyms. Apart from these kind of approved abbreviations and acronyms, all other especially those used in text messaging, shall never be used in formal writing. Types of report. Report can be classified on the basis of their nature, formality, purpose, and functions. They can therefore be regarded as routine reports, eyewitness report, investigative report, progress report, and research project report. However, all the above types of report can be grouped into two main types: formal and informal report. Informal report. An informal report is a report that does not follow the rules and guidelines directed by an organization. It can be written to send information to only one person or for a small number of individuals. Such reports are usually shared among co-workers within an organization in a form of a memorandum. The second type of report is a formal report. This is other known as official report, as it is meant for official purposes. It is written to provide information, analyze issues, and make recommendations on how to solve a problem or make a decision. Examples of formal reports include research project report, police report, evaluation report, and so on. The structure of a formal report depends upon one's departmental or organizational requirement. That is to say, each organization or department has its own structure of writing a formal report. In the next slide, you're going to see the example or sample of a formal report. Structure of a report writing. Number 1. Title page. They should contain the title of the report, the name of the reporter, and the date when the report is compiled and submitted. Number 2. Table of contents. They should contain all the chapters or headings together with their page numbers. This allows the reader to easily locate all the parts of the report. Number 3. Executive summary, that is an abstract. This gives a brief explanation on the content of the report. It gives the summary of the purpose of the report, the method of investigation, the major findings and conclusion of and recommendations, if any. Number 4. Introduction, that is the terms of reference. In this section, the report should clearly discuss all the necessary background information, aim and objectives of the report, as well as definition of all the abbreviation and acronyms used in the report. Number 5. Methods of investigation. Here, the writer is expected to give a detailed description of all the methods he or she used to gather the data for the report. This may include a list of all requirements used, explanation of the data collection procedures such as questionnaire, interview, observation, discussion, test, and so on, limitations of the method used, as well as all the problems encountered. Number 6. Findings and conclusion. This section deals with the logical presentation of the findings of the report. To further support the result of the investigation, the writer may decide to include diagrams, tables and graphs. This is followed by the conclusion, which may either take the form of highlighting the most important points of the report or show the overall significance of the research. Number 7, recommendation. This usually takes the form of a call to action. The recommendations given must be in line with the findings of the report. Number 8, appendices. In this section, the reporter should include all the supporting documents and information used which have not been included in the report. This may include questionnaires, transcripts, graphs, newspapers, journals, and so on. Number 9 is bibliography. That is references. In this section, a reporter should list in alphabetical order and by author all published sources referred to in the report. The other form of writing is a curriculum vitae, that is CV. When applying for a job, it is paramount for job seekers to give a good first impression to potential employers. This can only be achieved through writing a good curriculum vitae. It is also called resume. CV is a personal marketing document that job seekers use to sell themselves to potential employers. Thus, it is an important step in securing a job. As such, when it is written well, the candidate stands a good chance of securing his or her dream job. Also, when it is poorly, or conversely, when it is poorly written, the candidate may face rejection repeatedly from the employers. A CV is expected to explain to your prospective employers a lot about you, including your professional history, skills, abilities, and achievement, as well as why you are the best person for the job on offer. The University of Southampton Guide for Writing a CV identifies the following 10 rules of writing a successful CV. Rules of writing a CV. Number 1, simplicity. A successful CV should not be overcomplicated with too many categories or too many information than required. Number 2, highlights. Because CV is a marketing tool, one should make sure it highlights all one's personal and professional achievements to date. Number 3, truthful. One should not fabricate or falsify any information in the CV, as it will become unknown to one's employer at some point. 4, unique. The style and tune one uses in writing one's CV should be personal to one. In other words, one should be direct, positive, and personal. Number 5, tailored. The content of one's CV should be tailored in line with the current job application requirement as well as the job description. This is the one needs to be flexible when writing a CV. Number 6, word processed. A good CV must be word processed. It should be typed and spelling and grammar checked using a word processor. One also needs to avoid using slang, colloquialism, and clashes. Number 7, succinct. While writing a CV, one needs to be short and concise. Employers are never impressed with several pages of useless information. This, however, does not mean that many information should be lumped up together. Number 8, reversed chronologically. In all the subheadings of CV, the most recent event should come first, followed by the next, and so on. Number 9, review. One should give one's CV to a respected colleague to critically proofread and review it. Number 10, quality. A CV should be tagged in an A4 sized paper using an appropriate font size. Information should be well spaced so that the CV looks neat, qualitative, professional, and easy to read. You can use bullet points to identify and separate information, but make sure to never use a colored text in a CV. Format of writing a CV. Although a CV can be written in a variety of ways based on the skill and experience of the writer, as well as job requirements, there are particular sections that employers expect to see in a CV. These are explained below. Number 1, personal details. This is a position at the top of the page. It includes name, professional title, and contact detail. Under no circumstances should you make the title of your CV as curriculum vitae or CV. Instead, your name should be taken as the title and should be followed by your address, phone number or numbers, and email address. Number 2, personal profile, also called personal statement, career profile, or professional profile. This section is one of the most important parts of a CV. This is a short paragraph that gives your prospective employer an overview about who you are, your career goals, and what you can offer to the company, organization, or department. Your profile should be tailored to every job you applied for by highlighting the specific qualities that make you the most suitable candidate for the job. Number 3, employment history. This should start with the most recent or the most relevant employment information. Even if you are not involved in any paid employment, it is likely that you are doing something at the time from which you have learned new skills. For each previous position, state your job title, the organization you worked for, dates employed, projects involved in, position of responsibility held, achievement, and experience gained. If you have any years worth of experience, you can reduce the detail of old or irrelevant rules. Education and qualifications. They should also be written in a reverse chronological order. One should include the name of the institutions one attended and the date he or she attended them. This is followed by the qualification and grades one achieved. In the case of examination like WAEC or NECO, one needs not to include details of all the subjects taken. They should be grouped together as 9 WAEC credits or 7 NECO credits, and so on. Number 5 is the additional section, where is a range of additional sections that may strengthen your CV and highlight your skills. The following are some sections that can be included. The key skills. This section may sometimes come before employment history. You can include your languages and computing skills, noting the level of fluency as well as evidence of using them. Furthermore, you can include any other skills that you think are appropriate to the job you are applying for. Hobbies and interests. If you feel that your CV is still lacking, you can improve it by including your hobbies and interests. However, one must be careful not to include hobbies that may hinder one's chances for getting the job. One should draw only on those that are relevant to the job. Referees. In this section, try to identify reliable referees and include their names, job title, contact details, and their link to you. Alternatively, many people decide to omit this section or state that referees are available on the request. It is important, though, to seek prior permission from your referees. What not to include in a CV. a headshot. In some countries, it is common to include your picture on your CV. In the Nigerian context, this practice is not allowed. Age and date of birth. The only dates that should be on your CV are those about employment and qualification information. Your age should not determine your ability to do the job you are applying for. These details may even count against you in many instances. Marital status. Marital status is another information that should not be included in a CV. It does not influence one's ability to do a job. Many a time, marital status of an applicant may be used to discriminate against him or her. Writing an email, that is electronic mail. The electronic mail email is one of the newest and most sophisticated forms of correspondence between individuals and organizations. An email is a message which may contain text, files, images, or other attachments sent through a network to an individual or group of individuals. Email has a number of advantages over other forms of correspondence, and that it is the fastest and more stages of writing an email. An email can be viewed or received through a computer or a cell phone that has an internet connection. When sending an email, the individual must first access his or her mail address. After accessing the mail page, one should click on Compose button and a panel will appear which contains three options. The first is Designate to, and it is where the email address of the recipient of the message should be written. The second, Tagged Subject, is optional, and it is where a brief description of the contents of the message can be given. The last is the Compose Email button, in which the actual message to be sent should be written. One advantage of email is that if a sender wants to attach pictures, audio, files, he or she can do so by clicking the Attachment File button, which leads the sender to different locations where pictures, audio, and videos recordings are stored. After selecting the appropriate file, one should finally click on Send, and the message is instantly transmitted to the recipient inbox. Therefore, the recipient can easily open and view the content of the message. Minutes of a meeting. This is among the primary responsibilities of a secretary of a department or an organization. Minutes of a meeting is meant to take note of what happens at any membership meeting. The notes are called minutes, a record of official business that occurs during a meeting. The secretary has to first study the agenda of the meeting, which serves as a skeleton outline. Characteristics of minutes. A minute should indicate the date, time, and place of the meeting, the name of the chair of the meeting, and the list of those present, that is attendance. It should record an explanation of any matter, including any motions made and actions taken, that is the resolution. It should indicate the next meeting, date, time, and place, the time of the adjournment, the writer's signature, name, and date. These are the features or characteristics of minute of a meeting. Memorandum. Another way through which information is shared within an outside organization is through memorandum. The memorandum is a form of correspondence meant to convey information to members of an organization or to other organizations and bodies. In some disciplines like law, a memorandum is regarded as a record of terms of transaction or contract, such as policy memo, memorandum of understanding, MOU, memorandum of association, and so on. Memorandum is divided into two types: internal memo and external memo. Internal memo as one of the types of memorandum. This is a memorandum written and circulated to people within the same organization. In other words, internal memorandum is a brief written communication aimed at passing information from an organization to its various employees or between and among officials in the organization. The topic of internal memorandum may range from general notification, request for action, to invitation for meetings. Format of an internal memorandum. The format of memorandum varies from one organization to another. That is, writing a memorandum, some organizations may have specific format peculiar to them. In general, an internal memorandum has the following format. Number 1, heading. This comes at the top of the page and shows the name of the organization as well as the caption internal memorandum. Then from. This comes at the left hand side of the page and shows the title of the officer writing the memorandum. The next thing is 2. This comes below from and indicates the designation of the recipient of the memorandum. Date. This is written below the column 2. Subject. The subject or title of the message is written below the section above. These can be written in uppercase alone or in upper and lower cases. The body. This is the actual information the memorandum intends to convey. Name of the writer. This comes at the end of the memorandum. This is the sample of internal memo or memorandum. As explained on the previous slide, there is the from, to, date, the caption of the memorandum written, and then the body and all the information as explained in the previous slide. The other type of memorandum is external memorandum. This memorandum is usually written to send messages to the general public or other external organizations and bodies in order to convey information on certain specific issues. In other words, an external memorandum is written for the people outside a company or organization and is written in a more formal approach compared to the internal memorandum. Like in most continuous writing texts, external memorandum has an introduction, main body, and conclusion. It is important to note that the format of external memorandum differs from one company to another and depends on the person or organization to which the memorandum will be sent. However, most of the external memoranda are written in form of formal letters. Thank you so much. This is the end of the second part of Module 4.